I've worked the overnight shift at a hotel for going on 3 years now. It's not glamorous. You're mostly alone. You check in the occasional late arrival. You run the audit reports at 3 a.m. and you watch the clock until the morning crew relieves you at 7. I'm 24. I took the job because the differential pay was decent, and I've always been a night person. Or at least, I used to think I was. This happened about 3 weeks ago, and I still haven't entirely decided what I believe about it. The hotel is a mid-sized property, 112 rooms, 6 floors, attached to a conference center that sits empty most weeknights. It's the kind of place that hosts wedding blocks on weekends and corporate retreats Monday through Wednesday, and then goes almost completely quiet by Thursday. The building itself is older, renovated in the mid-2000s, so it has that particular smell. Carpet cleaner and recycled air, and long corridors that absorb sound in a way that makes the whole place feel underwater after midnight. I had been awake for a long time that night. Not as long as some people go, but long enough. My daughter had an ear infection, and had been crying the night before, which meant my wife and I were both up, and neither of us had gotten more than maybe 90 minutes of broken sleep before I had to drive in for my shift. I'm not complaining. That's just the setup. Because it matters. The hotel was at 40% occupancy. Conference center was dark. Parking lot had maybe 20 cars. My coworker, a guy named Darren who does the overnight security walk, had already done his 11 p.m. round and come back to tell me it was quiet before settling into the back office to watch something on his phone. By 1 in the morning, I was alone at the front desk, running on stale coffee and that particular kind of tired that sits behind your eyes like pressure. Around 1:15, the elevator at the end of the lobby dinged. That happens sometimes. Guests come down for ice, for vending, for no reason at all because they can't sleep. I looked up from the desk, ready to give whoever it was a polite nod. The elevator door opened. The lobby was dim, the way it always is overnight, with the ambient light from the front entrance and the soft glow from behind the desk. I could see clearly enough. No one came out. I waited a few seconds, assuming maybe someone had hit the button from upstairs, and then decided not to come down. The doors closed. I went back to my monitor. At 1:40, I did my own walk. Darren's supposed to do a second round at 2, but I usually do a quick lap through the conference center side, just to feel like I've moved my legs. The conference center connects to the hotel on the second floor via an enclosed walkway. I hate that walkway at night. It's mostly glass, so in the winter you can feel the cold radiating through it, and because of the angle, the lighting through the parking lot hits in a way that makes your reflection appear and disappear depending on where you're standing. It's the kind of place your brain invents movement in your peripheral vision without any help. I was almost back to the door when I saw a woman sitting in one of the chairs in the far end of the conference foyer. Just sitting there in the dark, posture rigid, hands folded in her lap, facing toward the window that looks out to the side parking lot. I stopped. My first thought was that the guest had wandered over and maybe fallen asleep sitting up, which sounds impossible, but genuinely happens. My second thought, almost simultaneously, was that every door between the hotel and the conference center requires a key after 10 p.m., and I hadn't badged through any door that was already open. I had used my card each time. I took a step toward her. She was older, white hair, dressed in something dark, a cardigan maybe. The kind of thing that looks like it belongs from a different decade. She was very still. I called out, "Ma'am, are you a guest with us?" She didn't move. Not a flinch, not a turn of the head. I took 2 more steps and the lights in the conference foyer, which are motion sensors, clicked on automatically, and the whole space flooded with that flat fluorescent light. The chair was empty, clean, pushed neatly up on the edge of the round table like no one had touched it all day. I stood there for what felt like a long time. There was nowhere she could have gone. The exit doors are alarmed. The door back to the hotel walkway was 10 feet behind me and hadn't opened. She was there, and then she wasn't. I stood in that bright, empty room and felt something cold move through me that had nothing to do with the temperature. I went back to the desk and I didn't tell Darren, partly because I didn't know how to say it, and partly because I'd already started doing the math in my head. 31 hours without real sleep, close enough to the threshold where your brain starts generating things and presenting them to you as fact. I convinced myself. I almost had myself fully convinced. At 3 a.m., I was running the night audit, which requires me to essentially lock the system for about 20 minutes while the reports generate. During that window, I can't check anyone in, can't pull up reservations, can't do much of anything, so I usually just sit and wait. The lobby was completely silent. Darren had gone back to the office. The parking lot outside the front windows was still. Then the phone at the desk rang. It was our internal line, the 4-digit extension that guests use to call the front desk from their rooms. The display showed the room number, 614. We have 6 floors. We have 112 rooms. The 6th floor only goes up to room 608. I stared at the display. It rang 4 times. I picked it up and said the standard greeting, our hotel name. How can I help you? There was sound on the other end. Not static, not silence. Breathing. Low and slow, and deeply unhurried. The way someone breathes when they're not aware they're being heard. Then a voice, a woman's voice, old and soft, said something I've been trying to unhear ever since. She said, "The ice machine on my floor is broken." And then the line went dead. I stood up so fast my chair rolled back and hit the wall. I pulled the room list. I pulled it up twice. There is no 614. There has never been a 614. Our 6th floor rooms run from 601 to 608. I went into the call log to see if I could find the internal extension record. There was no log of an incoming call at 3:04 a.m. No record. Nothing. Darren came out around 3:30, and I had him do an early walk on the 6th floor. He came back and told me it was empty. All 8 rooms. Dark. Quiet. Undisturbed. He didn't find an old woman. He didn't find anything. I've looked into sleep deprivation hallucinations since then. I know what the literature says. I know the brain can generate voices, images, entire sensory experiences when it's been pushed far enough. I know this, but I also didn't imagine the call log disappearing. I know I didn't imagine seeing those 4 digits on the display. I've put a request to transfer to day shift. I'm still waiting to hear back.